Once the benchmark assessment period ends, progress monitoring becomes available for all students. It is particularly recommended for students who did not meet the benchmarks, and progress monitoring should be conducted every 2 to 3 weeks. By clicking on this button here, you can view or hide the student's most recent performance on a benchmark assessment. Click on the recommended or available button, and this will take you to the progress monitoring section. You can use the recommended passage, or you can choose a level at or above the benchmark level that the student achieved in the previous assessment. When you click on this button, it will take you to the progress monitoring modules. Click on additional materials. Click on the passage the student will be reading, print out the passage, and hand the passage to the student. The progress monitoring assessment is very similar to the benchmark assessment. Once the student has been handed the assessment page, click on the teacher's assessment page. Read the instructions to the student. When you're ready, start the assessment. When the assessment is complete, save and continue. I'd like you to read the story for me, starting with the title. If you come to any words that you don't know, just do your best, guess if necessary, and keep reading until you've finished. Okay, do you understand what to do?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Buried treasure. John grinned as he sprinted to the entrance of the cave. I can't wait to search inside. We're like archaeologists, so who knows what we might uncover. Skeletons, ancient relics, maybe even treasure. Lamar assumed that bats were all they were likely to find. Nikki put the two-way radio in her backpack. Press the button when you speak into the microphone.
Once the student has completed the oral reading fluency module and you have saved and continued, you'll then be guided through the additional modules, which is monitor comprehension, in-depth progress monitoring, a summary of the student's skills, and then recommendations for moving into instruction. What is the setting of this story?
A cave.
So what do you know about the characters in the story?
Lamar is kind of smart. Nikki is really, she's really cautious, and John.
The student does identify the setting and also provides a detail about each main character. Now I'd like you to tell me what happens at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end of this story.
Mm-hmm.
So at the beginning, what happens?
They're getting ready to go into the cave.
And what is the end of the story?
They find John.
The student identifies plot events from the beginning, middle, and end of the story. And we're now at the in-depth progress monitoring module. Based on John's behavior in the story, do you think he'll be more careful in the future? Explain your answer.
I think he will be more careful because he doesn't want to get so hurt, because he really, really was bleeding.
Why do you think Nikki was worried?
Because they could barely see except for the rays from their flashlights. I know.
The student draws two reasonable conclusions using information and specific vocabulary from the story. The next section is on vocabulary roots. What is a root for the word archaeologists? This word here, pedometer. What does pedometer mean?
Kind of like a thermometer, but just to measure how far you fall.
What is a root for the word pedometer?
I don't know.
The in-depth progress monitoring rubric can now be completed. Comprehension, draw conclusions. The student draws 2 reasonable conclusions using information from the story. Vocabulary roots gives a partially correct response, such as intended meaning of one word, and word reading suffixes reads all 4 words accurately. Once all of the modules have been completed, there will now be recommendations for next steps in instruction. There are also follow-up written assignments that students can complete, and these can be found in the additional materials section. And you're going to be describing the characters, the setting, and the plot. Do you understand what to do?
Yeah, I think so.
By clicking on the student's name, you will be taken to the student's action plan page. Click on the student assessment history to view the student's progress monitoring history. The progress monitoring module is an effective way for teachers to keep a close eye on students' progress over time and, more importantly, identify gaps or challenges. This allows them to make timely adjustments to instructional strategies, resources, and support. Ideally, progress monitoring will take place every 2 to 3 weeks and will continue until benchmark assessments are scheduled towards the end of the season.